The walls of the Danish royal court trembled not from scandal, politics, or public opinion, but from a wave of grief that swept through its highest halls. It was not a moment of royal pomp or grandeur, but one that tore straight into the heart of King Frederik X of Denmark. And standing at the very center of this emotional storm, none other than his beloved wife, Queen Mary. In a world where royal protocols demand stoicism and restraint, Queen Mary broke through with raw, unfiltered emotion. She stood tall, but shaken, delivering a farewell so poignant, so personal, and so deeply touching that even the king could not hide his tears. The words she dedicated were not merely for show. They were a final gift to a man who held an irreplaceable place in the king's heart. Michael Halbye, Frederik's trusted confidant, friend, and royal companion, who tragically suffered a serious accident in Switzerland that would change everything. Before we dive into Queen Mary's powerful farewell, it's important to understand just who Michael Halbye was, and why he meant so much to King Frederik. Michael Halbye was more than a royal aide or distant family friend. For years, he stood as a quiet pillar in the king's inner circle. Known for his discretion, integrity, and fierce loyalty, Halbye was someone who understood the emotional weight that came with the Danish crown. To outsiders, he was barely visible, but inside the royal court, he was the king's silent shield. He had served the monarchy for decades, first under Queen Margrethe II, then quietly transitioning into a more personal role during Frederik's ascension. He became part of the backbone that supported Frederik during state visits, personal losses, and even internal royal tensions. On what was supposed to be a quiet personal visit to Switzerland, a country known for its peace and snow-capped serenity, Michael Halbye suffered a devastating accident. Reports remain scarce due to royal privacy, but insiders confirm it was life-altering and unexpected. The accident took place near Geneva, where Halbye had been vacationing. A fall, some say. Others whisper of a collision. But what is certain is this: the Danish royal family was informed immediately. And the news hit like a thunderclap. King Frederik, known for his composed and elegant bearing, was shattered. He was on a diplomatic call when he received the message, and had to excuse himself mid-conversation. The man he saw as a second father, a lifelong advisor, and a friend had been fatally wounded. In the days following the accident, the public did not hear from King Frederik. But the Queen stepped forward, and when she did, her words were like velvet dipped in sorrow. Standing before a closed circle of royal staff, friends, and family at Fredensborg Palace, Mary took the floor. In her hands, clutching slightly, was a folded piece of paper. A tribute, a goodbye, she began. Today, we say goodbye not just to a man of honor, but to a man whose soul touched ours more deeply than words can express. Michael was not born into royalty, but he became our family. He gave us more than service, he gave us his soul. As Mary continued, her voice cracked. King Frederik, seated beside her, placed a hand over his face. His eyes shimmered. Frederik called you his guardian. I called you a brother. Our children saw you as a quiet hero. You helped build the foundation we stand on today. It was not just a farewell. It was a declaration of love, loss, and eternal gratitude. Sources close to the palace confirm that King Frederik was so moved by Mary's words that he asked for a private moment alone afterward. He had not spoken publicly since the accident, but privately, he reportedly whispered, "She said everything I couldn't. I owe her and him my strength." He would later send personal condolences to Halbye's family and arrange for a special royal wreath to be placed at the site of the accident in Switzerland. One palace insider revealed that speech, it was not rehearsed. Mary wrote it herself, late into the night, while looking through photos of Michael and the children. Though not a royal by blood, Michael Halbye's absence leaves a vacuum in the Danish court. He was the man who ensured confidentiality in times of scandal, the one who guarded Queen Mary's transition from Australian citizen to global queen. The man who quietly ensured that the king never stood alone. His death, and the raw grief it triggered, marks a rare moment in which the royal family's humanity is laid bare for all to see. Once Queen Mary's tribute was made public, the reaction across Denmark was immediate and overwhelming. Citizens left handwritten notes outside Amalienborg Palace. Candles lit up Copenhagen. Across the country, radio and TV stations paused regular programming to air tributes. One elderly citizen was quoted as saying, I've followed the royals my whole life. Never have I seen such sadness in Frederik's eyes. And perhaps that's why Mary's speech resonated. It wasn't a formality, it was a lifeline. A way for the royal family to grieve with their people. In the days following the tragedy, Queen Mary was seen accompanying her husband more closely than usual. Where she would often walk a respectful step behind the king during public events, she now stayed at his side. Body language experts noted subtle gestures, his hand briefly brushing hers, her eyes constantly watching him, that reflected the deep emotional support she was providing. She is his anchor now, said one royal correspondent. And this tragedy has made that clearer than ever. As Denmark mourns the loss of Michael Halbye, the royal family prepares for an intimate memorial service. Though private, it is expected that Queen Mary may speak again, and this time, with the king beside her. There are also whispers that King Frederik is commissioning a commemorative statue or plaque in Halbye's honor, to be placed within the royal gardens of Copenhagen. If there were any doubts left about Queen Mary's strength, they have been put to rest. In her hour of sorrow, she stood not only as a grieving friend but as the emotional backbone of the monarchy. Her ability to channel pain into grace, to speak when her husband could not, has endeared her even more to the Danish people. She didn't just say goodbye. She said it with love. She said it with loyalty. And most of all, she said it for the king. Denmark will move forward. It always does. But this moment will remain frozen in its royal history, a day when grief met grace, and when a queen's words became the heart of a nation. In times of sorrow, true character emerges. What Queen Mary did wasn't just royal, it was deeply human. So, what do you think? Has Queen Mary's heartfelt farewell redefined her role as Denmark's queen and possibly the most emotionally resonant royal figure of our time? Tell us in the comments. We'd love to hear your thoughts. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share for more powerful royal stories and breaking updates from inside the palace.